Sorry for taking so long with the release of this video. I know I've spent a lot more time between uploads, but this video has taken up a lot of work since this is not my usual commentary. Before I start talking about the whole situation, please read the trigger warnings. If you are sensitive to these topics or just very young, please click off for your own safety. Mentions of suggestive and NSFW content that contain underage characters and fetishes such as incest and vor. Viewer discretion is advised. You don't need to be fully familiar with the comic to understand what I'm going to be talking about and why the whole gravity of the situation is so serious. But as a little summary, just so that you don't get lost, or as a refresher, there is a main character that is named Speed, the 16-year-old Jolteon. And he lives in a treehouse with all of the variations of evolutions in a world based on the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game that makes the Pokemon have anthropomorphic manner. Anthropomorphic manner can mean to give non-human things human characteristics, and in this Pokemon game in particular, they are civilized and speak, but they don't have the shape or resemblance of a human physically. This started as a romance comic made by a teenager back in 2016 that was full of teen-aged characters taking care of this 3-year-old Eevee named Sunshine. That is all you really need to know for now. This is important. And to the people that were waiting on me to make this video, I was just waiting for the accounts that I was going to talk about to get banned from DeviantArt, because I really didn't want people to go out looking for it, since a lot of people in this community are kids and underaged. I've reported them multiple times and waited over a month, but since it's been a full month and one of these accounts, which is going to be the main topic of this video, is still up and somehow managed to get past the AI moderation I assume DeviantArt uses, I can't do anything to hide or prevent people from going even further into these accounts other than pointing it out to the public so that DeviantArt can actually pay attention to how degenerate some of these things that have been and still are being posted on their website are not taken down. Please go report them after this video. Side note, DeviantArt supports AI art for some reason, and you somehow have to make the AI moderation understand the ages of these characters. I've given them their ages, sources, and even pointed out the other depraved stuff that they have posted with anthropomorphic mannered animals that are also from media mainly consumed by kids and teenagers, but even with all of that, they have yet to be banned or have any action taken on this account. I will try again and again before the creation of this video and publication, but the chances for anything to be done is very low due to the DeviantArt's very bad AI moderation. I personally never wanted to post any more content on this comic, or really in general, since this is what I started on and have since lost motivation to make videos. But what I'm going to talk about involves a lot of degenerate stuff made by disgusting people that really needs to be addressed, since what this account has posted has also spread into other kid media characters being sexualized and put in very suggestive positions. But first, I'd like to explain how I found this account in the first place. Around 2 weeks ago, I was scrolling through the community subreddit because I like to check up on what's going on sometimes, and I stumbled across this post. They talked about 2 AI accounts that were in DeviantArt that posted suggestive or just straight up NSFW content of the characters in a comic. And one of them, the account that was luckily deactivated before I worked on this video, was about a fetish called vor. I didn't research this account since it was deleted off of DeviantArt and I was just not ready to see that type of stuff, but the whole account was based on the comic. Their description was literally ES Squad Vorsucker, heavily implying that this is an account based on Evolution Squad, which is not only really weird, but also putting these underaged characters in extremely NSFW situations is even more disgusting. Not only that, but their profile picture was AI generated, and I don't want to know if it's cropped of their own AI generated posts, but luckily their account was seemingly wiped off the platform. I don't like any suggestive or NSFW content of the characters because most of the characters in the comic are underaged, but what made it worse was that in one of these AI accounts, Janatai-san 20, they had hundreds of these AI posts, with almost every character being a teenager. Some of these instances were of ships that were already pretty popular in the community, just extremely suggestive instead of romantic, which on its own is extremely disgusting, but in a lot of these posts there were instances of incest and pedophilia, aging up certain characters so that the other one is just a literal child predator, and they were putting them in bath time and bed together, soaked sheets, and in all these types of suggestive positions with extremely predatory language. It does not take a genius to figure out that they were trying to bypass both NSFW blocks of the generative AI and AI moderation to make extremely weird posts of the young characters. They had AI generated full sections of SpeedX Sunshine and SpeedX Molly, which, if you didn't know, Sunshine is Speed's 3-year-old adopted kid and Molly is Speed's biological mom. Remember that Speed is around 16. This is blatant incest, and the creator knows this. Sunshine is seen calling Speed Dad multiple times, using many names you'd call a parental figure into these scenarios. I don't even want to mention the weird things that were said in the SpeedX Molly posts. And it's not like these were the only characters that would put in these scenarios. Multiple characters would put in these types of AI posts. At the start of the comic and throughout most of the comic, these characters are all 15 through 17 teenagers. And there are even more depraved posts that contain Axel and Sunshine, toddlers. Suggestive content of toddlers. I have reported them, and so have others, and to my knowledge, they have not been banned permanently, but hopefully in the future they get IP banned. But in my opinion, it's taking way too long for anything to happen, if at all. The account was active for a month back when I was first in their account, like in the 9th of July. They were still up and active, and they still are to this day. And the fact that this is not even the only person that has done weird stuff makes me sad. Like the Jolly Joel account that likes ES4. And in my opinion, the reason I think they did get banned is because they were blatantly doing fetish content, unlike the more suggestive type content that the other account made. Either that or the owner of the account actually just deactivated their account by themselves, because according to the actual link to their account, they have already deactivated their account, which thank God, but for some reason there are people who have archived posts from them. I can't believe I'm saying this, but please do not archive any of these people's stuff. It is not worth it. They push their fetishes into a simple Pokemon romance comic that was made by a teenager full of teenage characters. And the fact that it's extremely easy to work around bans with other accounts and all is even worse. There are some suggestive things shown in the comic, but most of the time it's never that serious, just weird. And the only really perverted character in the comic that is an adult guy never even appears in these AI posts, sexualizing a bunch of Pokemon that are not adults and don't even have any physical human characteristics, only really talking, is really depraved stuff. And it's worse that this community is full of kids and teenagers that can be easily exposed to weird fetishes or fetish content, since these posts do not have any restrictions on them. I could view them without having to even log in or prove any sort of age range so that I can watch that type of content. I only made this video to spread awareness on the very depraved stuff going on in the communities, but since I can't take this account down myself, I have to resort to getting a little help from the small community I have, and also make people aware of these types of accounts, since I feel as if the simple Reddit post won't push out these types of people from the Evolution Squad community. And the fact that this isn't the first time something like this has happened is extremely disgusting. I don't want people like this to infect the youth of this community. So please report and block these people. They are disgusting, disturbing people that should not and never have any platform in any website or app. The reason I used gameplay as background instead of using footage that shows the account's actual media is because I do not want a single bit of their art, quote unquote, any of my videos, even if they're heavily censored. Please stay safe from these types of people. They spread their weird agenda and fetishes through kids' media. The Jonna Tyson account doesn't just use ES. They've used characters from Paw Patrol and Disney characters from shows that are also animals and very underaged. Please also block the watchers of these accounts. They are also messed up. There are tons of weird accounts in many kids' communities, and it's our responsibility to push them out of these spaces. I was going to end the video around here, but when discussing this situation with one of my other friends from this community, Swag, I was given a whole new perspective on this problem. Put yourself in Evie's shoes. Imagine being an artist who put years of effort into a comic beloved by the masses for its lovable characters, stories, and appealing art style, only to see that hard work be used to train AI on how to replicate your art style in the means to fulfill the weird desires of a growing minority of weirdos. Not only does that put the artist in a very uncomfortable position, but as this hive mind grows and younger audiences are exposed to this type of content, eyes will be on the creator for letting this happen, even though it was never their fault in the first place. And knowing how quick assumptions get thrown around on the internet, it's no surprise this is bound to happen. I personally don't have any connections to the creator EV0 or aka PKM150, but it's really obvious that he's trying to get away from the really depraved past of the community he got from Evolution Squad, and this AI art situation is one of the many examples why he did this. There were trolls that only used his name to harass people, which was pretty tame compared to the thousands of sexual comments and images that were posted in his comment sections throughout the years. And it is very apparent that this is still an issue to this day with the whole AI thing, and the bigger problem that it's so easy and accessible to use. AI is too much of a widely available tool for people to so easily abuse the restrictions of to generate this type of degenerate content at a mass scale. I know that AI can be useful in many instances, but there are just way too many problems with it for it to be a good thing for us in the long term or right now. Especially with this type of generative AI content being mass produced by single accounts. This situation is a wide spectrum of problems that has led to this, and I don't have the knowledge to explain or do anything useful, but instead of just telling you to report these accounts, I want you to think about this whole situation yourself. Don't get your opinions from me or any other single platform or account. Do your own thinking, do your own research. I'm only here to spread awareness about this subject and to tell everyone that is in a community of any sort, especially if the community is open to kids content or teenagers, to be safe and point out the issues in your community, whether it be someone that is problematic or depraved accounts like this having a large platform. It is really easy for these accounts to pop up and mass produce disgusting media. If you love something, you should take care of it, even if you feel like you can't do anything. And please, for the love of God, stop pushing your fetishes and sick thoughts into characters of kids' media or any media of that sort.